We had done last time this part already, but today again we'll take up this particular line to begin with and then proceed with the text. Then silently she rose and, service done, bowed down to the great goddess simply carved by Satyavan upon a forest stone. What prayer she breathed, her soul and Durga knew. Now, this is the description of the great goddess. We might try to see how great really this goddess is. It's a very preposterous kind of a thing to do, but still we can be foolish enough, absurd enough, and try to understand to some extent in our own way this great goddess, what this great is basically about. She is really great, there's no doubt about it. These are the images of Durga. You can see how mighty, how powerful, how majestic this figure is. Fully armed for the battle to wage the war against the demons, asuras. He is fully armed. We can see her fierce face expression also. She is ready. Now, according to the Puranas, according to the description of Goddess Durga, there were two asuras, very, very powerful, and they had done such havoc. They were oppressing the soul of the earth so much that the gods, all the gods, went and prayed to Durga. Please save the world, save the earth from the force of the asuras, from the action of the asuras. And after offering her due worship, eulogies, praises, and all that, she agreed. And then each god gave her his weapon to fight against the asura. Each god offered his weapon to fight the asura. So she has got weapons from all the gods, all the powers she has acquired from the gods, and she is now ready to fight the asura. Dasha praharana dharini, 10 prahara weapons, wielding in 10 hands. Now, this appearance of Durga is in a specific context of, in fact, she comes every year like that to destroy one asura after the other like that. And it seems that her work is endless. It goes on. In every October, she comes, destroys an asura. Again, next October, it goes on like that, you see. Which means that basically she is a power belonging to the cosmic operation, not a transcendental. Durga is a goddess belonging to the universal operation, not a transcendental. She is not the supramental power, Shakti, who will necessarily destroy the evil. She will destroy 1, 2, 3, 4 in the cosmic operation. She cannot. Now it is to her that Savitri is worshipping. In the morning, early morning, she gets up and she is offering her prayers to Durga. And this Durga is going to help Savitri. Now, therefore, the question which would arise in our silly mind is, will that help from Durga be of sufficient merit for Savitri to conquer death? Savitri is going to face shortly death, Yama. Will the power of Durga be able to help her to conquer death? If Durga is the cosmic power, and of course death is also a cosmic power, we can say to some extent that Durga will be able to help Savitri. But to fully conquer death forever, that may not be sufficient. Durga's help as she stands in the cosmic dimension may not be adequate enough to eliminate death forever. It is only the divine Durga herself who can do that. So actually what happens in the case of Savitri, she is held by the cosmic Durga. She is offering her prayer because Savitri has taken the human birth, and therefore all the cosmic powers had to be with her, though they may not be sufficient to meet the need of her hour. They will not be adequate enough to meet the need of her hour. So, what actually happens in the case of Savitri is, with that force fixed in her soul, Durga's help, on the battlefield, it is the divine Savitri herself, divine Savitri, not the cosmic Savitri, the divine Durga, the transcendental Durga, who enters into the soul of Savitri, and it is she then who decisively conquers, vanquishes death. So, when you say great goddess, you have to see great from that particular aspect. She is great, but she is not decisively great in the cosmic manifestation. And what is required is the divine Durga has to enter into the soul of Savitri. Savitri has opened herself to the divine force fully. It is she, that divine Durga, not the manifestation of Durga here, who will really finally conquer. And therefore that great goddess gets linked up with the divine Durga. Now here she is great, she is cosmic, because she has been carved by Satyavan upon a forest stone. Upon the forest stone. She is the cosmic goddess. The divine Durga, she cannot be yet carved in the material world. On the forest stone, divine Durga, she needs a different kind of a stone, not ordinary stone like that, you see. So, therefore, in that sense, there is a certain limit of this greatness of goddess. She is carved in the stone, forest stone, in the cosmic manifestation which are there, not in the full transcendental manifestation. That is important to see here. Now, it is in that context you can see the importance of this line. Perhaps she felt in the dim forest huge, the infinite mother watching over her child. There now the importance of the infinite mother of the divine Durga which comes into full operation. That is important. Savitri is worshipping the Durga who has been carved by Satyavan on a forest stone, but that act of Savitri is being watched by the Infinite Mother. And it is she then who takes charge of Savitri, of human Savitri. The worship of Durga takes Savitri to the stage when the Infinite Mother can take possession of her work, of her action. That is the role of Durga. Now, there are a number of references to the meeting of Durga by the mother. Durga used to come regularly in the month of October, Durga Puja days, to visit the mother, spend sometimes 2 days, 3 days with her. And I'll just read a couple of passages from the mother, what she is narrating about her rendezvous with Durga. On one occasion, the mother says, I was walking as usual and she came. She, of course, stands for Durga. And she came. That was when she made her surrender to the Supreme. On the day when she is going to make the surrender to the Supreme, on that day, the mother is narrating her meeting with Durga. Those divinities don't have a sense of surrender. All these great gods, Indra, Vayu, Agni, Durga, Shiva, Brahma, they don't have the sense of surrender. They don't know how to surrender themselves. That is the unique quality, the sense of surrender is a unique quality only with the human being, not with the gods and goddesses. Because we carry a psychic being. These gods and goddesses don't carry the psychic being. So the question of surrender doesn't arise. They think, they feel they are complete in themselves in every respect. They don't have to go and surrender to anybody. Divinities don't have a sense of surrender. Divinities such as Durga and the Greek gods. Now, Apasa Mother is saying, although the Greek gods are a bit dated now. See, Mother says, there are no people now in Greek to worship them. They are there, but there aren't people to worship them now. Great God. The 12 Olympians, Pallas Athene is one of the chief figures there in that. She, the warrior goddess, also the goddess of wisdom. In one place, Shivandu says about Pallas Athene, here in India, she is Maheshwari. There, she is Pallas Athene. So you can see that Pallas Athene corresponds to Maheshwari. He has very clearly said Maheshwari. But there are no people now to worship them. So the gods and goddesses, they have retired on the Olympus and nothing is happening. Perhaps to some extent, they have migrated to Rocky Mountains of the US, you see, and sitting there, you see. We don't know. So divinities such as Durga and the Greek gods, well, they are embodiments of what you might almost call localizations. You see how precise the mother is. They have certain qualities, certain powers, certain characters. They are fixed. What in other words, they are typal beings, localized beings, fixed type, localized, or something eternal. But they lack the sense of surrender to the Supreme. That is mother's complaint. These gods, okay, they are great, but they don't have the sense of surrender. Shiva comes to her, Ganesha goes to her, all these gods, Durga goes to her, but they don't have the sense of surrender to the divine. You see. And while I was walking, Durga was there. Really, it was beautiful. Durga, with that awesome power of hers, awesome power of hers. That is the great goddess of Savitri. See. Awesome power of her. Forever bringing the adverse forces to heel. And she surrendered to the Supreme on that particular day. To the point of no longer even recognizing the adverse forces. Her nature, her character is to destroy the evil, the adverse force, the asuras. But she does not even recognize now the adverse force, the asuras. She has surrendered herself so much to the divine, she does not recognize the evil force there, the Rakshasas, the asuras there. All is the Supreme. Even they are the Supreme. That is what she has recognized. It was like a widening of her consciousness when she makes surrender. That localization becomes now widening of consciousness. Some interesting things have been happening in that world. In that world, the typal world, the world of the gods. Seeing the supramental descent in 1956. See, although the descent has taken place upon the earth, it has its influence, its repercussions, its power spreading throughout the entire cosmos. So it is happening here, but it is spreading throughout the entire cosmos. Happening in that world, how can I explain? Those beings have an independence, an absolute freedom of movement. That is the character of the gods. Although at the same time, they are all a single being. But they had a true sense of perfect unity only with the Supreme Consciousness. As individuals, they don't have that sense of unity. One God with other God, with goddesses, they don't have that sense of unity unless they have that identification with the Supreme Consciousness. They are complete by themselves and therefore they don't need others to see. And now, with this present intervention of the supramental descent upon the earth, 1956, with this incarnation and the establishment of the consciousness, her in such absolute way, I mean, there are no fluctuations. She has surrendered. Here on earth, in the terrestrial atmosphere, this incarnation has a radiating action throughout those worlds. This incarnation has radiating action throughout those worlds, the worlds of the gods and goddesses, overmind world, even there. This incarnation stands for the supramental descent in 1956, February 1956, on earth. All those universes, this is not one, all those universes, all those entities, what a powerful descent it is. We don't understand that.
The descent has a repercussion on other universes.
Universes, not one universe. All the locus, all the overmind world, whatever other worlds are there, worlds of intuition, vital world, everywhere its influence is there, radiating. She says word radiating. What has happened here is not localized only to the earth. It has the full power to affect the entire cosmic manifestation. That is the importance of 29 February 1956. That is what she calls the present intervention, you see. All those universes, all those entities, and it results in small events, incidents, scaled to the size of the earth, which in themselves are quite interesting. And then she says, well, this was on 27th June 1962, so today is 28th June. Yeah. So, see, that is the power of that event, supramental descent, on 29th February 1956. It is not localized, and it is the power of that thing which, in a way, was seen very beautifully by Durga. That is the openness of Durga. That is the greatness of Durga. In her spiritual stature, there is something remarkable. Although she does not have the psychic being, there is something remarkable in her that she recognizes the greatness of that event and she offers herself totally to the Supreme, surrenders herself to the Supreme. So her will does not count now. Her action does not count. Whatever the Supreme wants her to do, that she will do.
But she doesn't dissolve herself.
She doesn't?
She is not dissolving herself.
No, but she has surrendered. Now it will be all taken care of by him.
Who is?
Yeah. Now, if she wants to make progress, she will take birth upon earth. She has surrendered to the God, to the Supreme. If she wants to make progress, she will come here, take birth here. It is a psychic being which makes you progress. That is the beauty of we human creatures, you see. We don't realize it, you see. And on another occasion, the mother narrates, and that's why how many times Durga came? Every year she used to come. Even during the time of Shivandu, she used to come. More often after that, but even during the time of Shivandu. She would always come, and I had my eye on her. Mother was as if kind of waiting for her for the arrival of Durga. Because in her presence, I could clearly sense that there wasn't that rapport with the Supreme. Earlier, there was no connection, no rapport of these gods with the Supreme. I could see that. She just didn't need it. Durga, who bothers about Supreme? I am all powerful in every respect. I can do whatever I want to do. She just didn't need it. She didn't need anything. She was complete by herself. Because she did not want to progress. What she is happy with that. Complete. That there are other possibilities to grow, to expand, to progress, that she didn't recognize at all. Not necessary, I am all. And it wasn't that something acted on her consciously, deliberately to obtain that result. It has been a contagion. By some kind of a contact here that she understood the necessity of surrender. Contagion. I remember how she used to come, and my aspiration would be so intense, my inner attitude so concentrated, and one day there was such a sense of power, of immensity, of ineffable bliss in the contact with the Supreme. Mother's own aspiration, the intensity of that, the sense, as she says, my inner attitude so concentrated. One day there was such a sense of power, of immensity, of bliss with the contact with the Supreme. It was a day when Durga was there and she seemed to be taken and absorbed in it. That is the power of Mother's concentration intensity. She was kind of drawn into it, Durga. She got lost in that intensity. And through that bliss, she made her surrender. Most interesting. Now that is the kind of a concentration the mother had, that power she had. She is not asking Durga to go and surrender to the Supreme. She is not pleading nothing. But the aspiration is so strong, so intense, the whole atmosphere is so charged with that feeling, with that bliss and all that. She suddenly felt something, Durga, and she offered herself to the Supreme. She made her surrender. That was on 30th June, see, day of tomorrow. Now, Well, we have this Durga seated in our inner world, certainly seated in the inner world of Savitri. This is Book of Yogam, Canto 4, 123.14 onward. When the second Madonna tells what she is to Savitri. And then she says, I am charged by God to do His mighty work. That is what she says. I am charged by God to do His mighty work. And who is she? She says, I am charged by God to do her mighty work. And then, when hell in my coming, the almighty force, when I am there, when Durga comes, Goddess comes, or praise with thankful tears His Savior grave. And what do? I smite the Titan who destroys the world and slay the ogre in his dust and den. In fact, that is what Durga does. That is what Durga does every year. I smite the Titan year after year. I don't know this year whom she is going to kill. You see, in India, she must come here quickly. She will not wait till October. She should come earlier and kill the asura of corruption. That is the first thing she should do, you see. Men hail in my coming, the Almighty's foe, or praise with thankful tears His Savior grave. I smite the Titan. Now, of course, Titan, that belongs to the Greek mythology. You have first the giants, then the Titans, and then the Olympians. Olympians. Yeah. Right. So actually, the Titans were defeated by the Olympians. They were driven out from the world. And one of the examples is of Enceladus. Enceladus, Athene. She defeated him and pushed him down under Mount Etna, the volcano. So the Etna is burning there above him, and he is there buried under the mount. And from that mount, one day, Enceladus has to rise. When will he come? When the Supreme God decides that to happen. He will be. He has to rise. Enceladus has to rise from the Mount Etna, you see. I smite the Titan. So this is what she did, Athene. She drove him out and pushed him under the volcano, you see. In fact, there are very beautiful pictures of this thing, depiction also, of in the Greek art, you see. And slay the ogre. Ogre is an inferior being than the Titan. See, we have got three types, Pishacha, Rakshasa, and Asura. Pishacha, Rakshasa, and Asura. The lower, ugly, vital, that is the Pishacha. Rakshasa is a tremendous vital force, beings of vital world, pure vital load, and then Asura, vital mental. So the Titans belong to the vital mental. Vital mental. And then she says that Durga, who is seated in the soul of Savitri, she is telling her to Savitri, I am Durga, goddess the proud and strong, and Lakshmi, queen of the fair and fortunate. I wear the face of Kali when I kill. I trample the corpses of the demon hordes. That is what she does year after year. I am charged by God to do His mighty work. Uncaring, I serve His will who sent me forth. reckless of peril and earthly consequence. I don't care at all. So that is what Durga is. I am charged by God to do His mighty work. Now, Shivandu had written the hymn to Durga in Bengali during his freedom fighting days before 1908, hymn to Durga when he was in Calcutta. And I had taken some selections from that. Mother Durga, from age to age, in life after life, we come down into the human body. That is what we do. Come down into the human body. Do thy work and return to the home of delight. Now too we are born, dedicated to thy work. Listen, O Mother, descend upon earth, come to our help. Mother Durga, rider on the lion, trident in hand, thy body of beauty, armor clad. Mother, giver of victory. Mother, giver of victory. That is what Savitri is praying to Durga early morning that day, you see. Giver of victory. Mother Durga, giver of force and love and knowledge. On that particular day, Savitri is not going to ask for love and knowledge. Savitri is going to ask for force. You see. So what prayer she made to Durga, only she and Savitri knew. But she was asking for force. Giver of force. When Savitri was praying, the poet says what prayer she has made to Durga, only she and Durga knew. But it is indicated that she is the giver of force, and naturally Savitri is going to ask for force on that day. Terrible art thou in thy own self of might, Mother, beautiful and fierce. In the battle of life, in India's battle, where warriors commissioned by thee, Mother, give to our heart and mind a Titan's strength. Yes, I want the strength of the Asura. Defeatless strength of the Asura. Titan's energy to our soul and intelligence, a God's character and knowledge. So he is really asking, she is asking for this Titan's strength, the strength of the Asura. And then on another occasion, Mother says, she stayed here while I was washing. In the room, the mother is doing all the household things, you see, and she says, she stayed here. She stayed for a couple of days, you see, sometime, while I was washing. And she told me, see, you can do all this, and not for a minute, not for a second, do you lose contact with that. The contact with the Supreme. You are doing all the small little household things. That is what Savitri was doing, all the kitchen work, household work, but she never lost contact with that. She never lost that contact with that. With the supreme wonder, Adbhuta, that is what she is. And we who are full of power, without any of your petty miseries, any of your petty difficulties, we are so used to our way of being that we don't see the value of it. It is Durga who is telling her, we don't see the value of it. It's something obvious, almost inevitable. And she said, the mother smiles, we never think of the divine. We never think of the divine. We don't have to, we don't have any need to think of the divine. We never think of the divine. So there is in that will to progress. You don't think of the divine means that you don't want to make any progress. You got stuck with what you are all the while. You are stuck with that. That thirst for ever better, ever more, we totally lack. This is what Durga is confessing to the mother, you see. But now she has made a surrender. She saw the whole thing and she made a surrender. And what a beautiful surrender she has made. In fact, we should see that the four powers, that of course we know now, there are the celebrated and splendid embodiments of the Divine Mother. The four powers. Her powers and her dynamic personalities carrying out the cosmic work. The four powers of hers are wisdom, strength, harmony. Wisdom, strength, harmony, perfection. Or Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati are of such a type that is already functioning in the vast scheme of cosmic things. These four powers: wisdom, strength, harmony, perfection. Wisdom, strength, harmony, perfection. These are the Chatur Varnas of the Vedic description. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. We call them by these names in the common language. But they are actually the divine powers working in us. They are actually divine powers working in us. I mean, now in the tradition, the knowledge, the power got lost and it has become a very dirty affair here. Brahmin, Kshatriya. Otherwise, they got, these are the qualities of the soul. And where do they not exist? In which world a Brahmin does not exist? It's not only in India. He is there everywhere. A man of wisdom. Plato, he was a Brahmin. Einstein, he was a Brahmin. That's the quality of man, you see. Kshatriya, where does it not exist? Eisenhower, he was a Brahmin. He was a Kshatriya, not only Arjuna, you see. On the battlefield, he's fighting the war. Churchill, he was a Kshatriya. Where is it that they don't exist? They are there everywhere. Because it is the human quality which is important, all pervasive. But Henry Ford, Warren Buffett, they are the Vaishyas. The commercial age today, what we call. They are the Vaishyas. They are dominating. Walmart. They are the Kshatriya. They are the Vaishyas, you see. That is the quality. Where is it that they don't exist? It's not only in India, I see that. They are there universally, everywhere. In every society, in every place they are there. Shudra, an engineer, an artist, a skilled laborer. Henry Ford. He is in a way, a Shudra. The skill of work. Microsoft, Bill Gates, yeah, Apple, they are Shudras in that sense. The skill, the perfection, the harmony which is required for work, it is that which they have acquired. These are universal qualities. You can't stop them. They are there everywhere, in every age. They are there in every age, you see, everywhere. So wisdom is there universally. It is human character, human nature. So this Chatur Varna, the division of society in four castes, is a universal principle. It is there everywhere. Strength, Kshatriya, harmony, that is Vaishya, perfection, that is Shudra. Perfection, skill in work, you see. But they do not pass through the portals, are of such a type, this already functioning in the vast scheme of cosmic things. They are there everywhere, this people. But they do not pass through the portals of the birth, that is the death. That is important. See, Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. They are cosmic powers. But they do not take human birth and pass the portals to the birth, that is the death. They do not want to do that. They do not want to do that. It is only when they accept the human birth, the psychic being, when they pass the portals to the birth, that is the death, then only they can progress. In fact, it is in that sense we have here the absolute uniqueness of Savitri. The divine goddess, she would have been very happy there, but she has condescended to pass to the portals of the birth, that is the death. Mother has taken the human birth, accepted the human suffering, human death, because it is only through that process that the work can go. They do not accept the lamentable limitations. You see, Maheshwari, Mahakali, no, I'm sorry. No, lamentable limitations. They do not climb up the calvary of deep-rooted frustration, do not bear the ignominy of human birth. They do not want that. Once the mother told Durga, the magic of surrender to the Lord is what we are saying just now. And then only did Durga see the wonder what the. She said, "We don't need divine. What for?" Now she is seen. She utter astonishment, its marvel and its power. Yet she was unwilling to take birth here, as was Shiva too. This is a much painful affair, and it is the greatness of the avatar that he accepts it. So that is the difference between God helping man and the avatar helping man, evolution. It is an act of His grace also for the evolving soul of the earth. Lakshmi, Saraswati, Gauri, Uma, Amba, Bhavani, Parvati, Kali, and in a way even the Madonnas who are present in the cosmic field are powers and personalities of the Divine Mother, but essentially typal in character. There are goddesses and goddesses, Devis, Matrikas. There are lesser vital embodiments also, embodiments who had drifted far away from her, from the divine source. There are alluring females too, like the famous Belle Dance of Mercy, and frightful woman in a bush with perilous beauty and charm. But let us take the mother of compassion, Karunamaya Mata, whom we meet in Savitri. She suffers, no doubt, but not the way does Savitri suffer. That is the greatness of Savitri's suffering. When she is now worshipping Durga, it is that which is coming out fully, full power. The incarnation, that is Savitri. In the house where all is made of flame and light, that is the soul of Savitri. Savitri's soul, that house where her soul is housed, is all made of flame and light. Suddenly meets her secret soul. Here, in the chamber of flame and light, the toiling spirit in a mortal shape, the human portion of divinity, and the oversoul, the central being stationed above, Savitri's oversoul up there, and the one who is seated in the flame and light, in the house of flame, they come and join together, they unite. The secret deity rush into each other with a magic transformation speed and become one. In a living original, the original power comes down into her heart. It is that which then the original power comes into the heart of Savitri. It is the descent to the original power that awakens the deep cosmic centers of activity in the subtle physical. And this happens through Savitri as the individual. So Savitri is now kind of a pretext for the divine power to come and work here in the terrestrial world. Out of the soulless, mindless night, a flaming serpent rises. All the energies wake up from here, stirred, and it rises from the inconscience upward. Savitri becomes the active center for the worldwide action. In fact, that is what we'll see later on. When Savitri is facing death, or rather, death is facing Savitri, how all the energies spring up from her, it is what we have here. In her soul sits the living original power. That is what happens. And armed and bearer of the weapon and sign. Weapon and sign. She is carrying the sign, the symbol, mother symbol. This could be the divine transcendental Durga. That is the real Durga. That brings about a high celestial change in Savitri, who is here to do the divine work. So when Savitri is worshipping the stone goddess simply carved by Satyavan in the forest, it is that now which is waking up here. Savitri, the divine, this could be the divine transcendental Durga, not only to protect but also to destroy all that opposes the divine work. That brings about a high celestial change in Savitri. So when Savitri is worshipping early morning, a mighty change takes place in her. That rush from above down below is for the cosmic universal action. Savitri has housed the divine power in her soul. This is what has happened on the fated day when she is going to meet Yama shortly in another 4 hours. Savitri has housed the divine soul. So when she is worshipping early morning, that goddess carved by Satyavan on a forest stone, what she has really done is she has housed the divine power in her soul. What prayer she breathed, her soul and Durga knew. We have seen what prayer she has seen now. We get some idea about the kind of prayer Savitri has made to Durga. Then we have seen already Savitri approaches her mother-in-law for permission to go to the forest along with her husband on that fated day. Why all that thing has to happen in the forest, that also we have seen last time. And we have seen it. Release me now and let my heart have rest. She is asking in a very humble manner. And the Mother Queen responds to her, I hold thee for a strong goddess who has come. That's the beauty of it. I hold thee for a strong goddess who has come, pitying our barren days. Now that is the incarnate Savitri as seen by her mother-in-law. So dost thou serve even as a slave might, yet art thou beyond all that thou doest. Yet art thou beyond all that thou doest. What a powerful realization is this of us. You are not what you are doing these routine things here. All our minds conceive like the strong sun that serves earth from above. Then the doomed husband and the woman who knew went with linked hands into the solemn world where beauty and grandeur and unspoken dream. Beauty and grandeur and unspoken dream. What a phrase, beauty and unspoken dream. Where beauty, of course, the whole forest is very beautiful and there is a grandeur in the forest. Greatness is there in the forest. where beauty and grandeur and unspoken dreams. What is a dream? Dream is a reality which has got to be realized. That is what the dream means. So when Savitri is seeing unspoken dream, she is expressing that what is there in the spirit, it is that which ought to be realized, which had to become true, actual here. That is the unspoken dream, the realization of what is not yet material is the unspoken dream, which has to come down here. So the whole forest should be like that, where nature's mystic silence could be felt. See, that is why mystic silence. It is that which will make the unspoken dream true. The spiritual atmosphere is there. In God's liver, Sri Aurobindo speaks of, I have left my dreams of you in the silver air. Dreams of you in the silver air. In the spiritual world, in the spiritual atmosphere, in the spiritual realm, I have kept my dreams there. But what for I have kept them there? Because those dreams should become real here. That is why I am keeping there. I am not going to dismiss them off. They are there safe. They are there safe. So that they become real here. In order to make them real, I will have to put in God's liver. The dreams are there, they have to become real here. So I have to put in God's liver. Those are the unspoken dreams. And therefore the whole description follows how God is going to deliver to make those dreams real here in the world. Same way she is saying the unspoken dream and that mystic silence is there, mystic silence, silver air of that poem, mystic silence, communing with the secrecy of God. That is what Savitri is saying already in the whole atmosphere. They are not ordinary dreams, you see. They have to become real here. So she is not simply walking in a physical manner. Of course she is. But then at the same time, all that is there which has to happen here must happen, and that will happen after 12 o'clock midday. Beside her, Satyavan walked full of joy, young man, young couple, and obviously they are in each other's company, full of joy, because she moved with him through his green horn. He showed her all the forest riches, flowers innumerable of every odor and hue, and soft, thick, clinging creepers, red and green, and strange, rich plumage of birds, to every cry that haunted sweetly distant boughs, replied with a shrill singer's name, most sweetly is called. So the lover is giving the call and the beloved is answering. But here you have now a complete description of what Satyavan had described to Savitri earlier. Yes, Savitri is there now, and Satyavan is going to show to her every bird, every river, every mountain, every tree, every animal with which he was constantly moving through his entire boyhood, growth, youth, and all that thing. He had identified himself with nature completely. And now it is that which he is going to show to Savitri. Now this is the actual thing, you see, he had described earlier to Savitri. When Satyavan was making advances towards Savitri, in the book of love, we have seen how he was moving and describing this. Now, yes, I'm going to show you this actually, because until now, Savitri had not seen those things. Now she's going to see them. Let's read some of those things. I think it's interesting. Yeah, 103. Okay, let's start with 103.31. We'll read quickly what he was describing to Savitri. He was making advances and he was very gloriously describing the whole place. But now he's going to show her physically this. You see. As if to a deeper country of the soul, transposing the vivid imagery of earth through an inner seeing and sense, a waking came. So, to a deeper country of the soul, a waking came. That is how Satyavan awoke to that sense. And that is what he is now going to describe to Savitri. Rather going to show. You were describing earlier, he is going to show now that thing. A vision spell pursued my boyhood's hours. All things the eye had caught in colored lines were seen anew to the interpreting mind, and in the shape it sought to see. I think let's see whether we can get the text here. As if to a deeper country of the soul, transfusing the vivid imagery of earth, through an inner seeing and sense, a waking came. A vision spell pursued my boyhood's hours. All things the eye had caught in colored lines. You see, he was talking of you and all that. Colored lines, you see. Caught in colored lines, was seen anew to the interpreting mind, and in the shape it sought to seize the soul. And then he says further, an early child God took my hand that held, moved, guided by the seeking of his touch. Bright forms and hues. You see, this is what he is describing now. You see, bright forms and hues. Bright forms and hues, limned upon page and stone, they spoke to me. High beauty's visitants, my inmates were. He is describing all the animal creatures now. The neighing pride of rapid life that roams windmade through our pastures, lands, wild animals, beasts. On my seeing mood cast shapes of swiftness. So when I am seeing, they are fleeting. Trooping spotted deer, again whisper sky became a song of evening to the silence of the soul. And then he says, I caught for some eternal eye the sudden kingfisher. So I am seeing the kingfisher, but I didn't catch it for myself. I caught it for some eternal eye. It is the eternal eye who is seeing through me the sudden kingfisher. Now this overflowing of the line is very beautiful. The eye, sudden kingfisher. I caught for some eternal eye the sudden kingfisher. It has to overflow. It is called anjama, enjambment. Flashing to a darkling pool. A slow swan silvering the azure lake. A shape of magic swiftness, whiteness, sailed to dream. Leaves trembling with the passion of the wind, and wandering wings nearing from infinity, lived on the tablets of my sight. Mountains and trees stood there like thoughts from God. See what realization already. Mountains and trees stood there like thoughts from God. They are not human. Pranked butterflies. So he is describing each and every bird and animal and tree and bird, you see. Pranked butterflies the conscious flowers of air, the brilliant long bills in their vivid dress, the peacocks scattering in the breezes moons, painted my memory like a frescoed wall. And then he says, I carved my vision out of wood and stone. You see? Out of wood and stone, the figure of Durga simply carved by Satyavan on a forest stone. We have that reference already here. Figure of Durga whom Savitri worships in the morning. I carved my vision out of wood and stone. I caught the echoes of a word supreme. So it is what I am listening here is Brahmanad, Brahmanad, word supreme, the divine word, Brahmanad, Brahma Shabda. It's music, that is what I hear, not ordinary words. And meter, the rhythm beats of infinity, all the chandas, Gayatri, Anushtupa, 7 chandas of the Rigveda. It is there I hear constantly. And listen through music of the eternal voice. I felt a covered touch. I heard a call, but could not clasp the body of my God. That was his regret. He has great spiritual realization. Yes, 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 but where is the body of God? Where is he in the material form, in the physical? That is what I can't see that. That is his regret. Or hold between my hand the world mother's feet. And then she says, later on, I conversed with nature, mused with the chainless stars, God's watchfires burning in the ignorant night. God's watchfires burning in the ignorant night. That is the stars. Stars are God's watchfires in the night. And saw upon the mighty visage fall a ray prophetic of the eternal sun. And then he goes on, and then he says, the spirit was saved, the body lost and mute. Yes, the spirit was saved, but not the body. It was lost. It became helpless. It could not speak out, dumb. Live still with death. Body lives still with death. That was his great regret. Yes, spirit is okay, but what was body? And that is the moment which is going to arrive soon. Satyavan's spirit is free. He will be free from death. But what about body? It will be left back. And ancient ignorance, the inconscient. But live still with body, live with death. But thou hast come, and all will surely change. All will surely change. So that is the assurance, that is the confidence, that is also the kind of realization Satyavan has when he meets Savitri. When he meets Savitri, yes, all will surely change because you are here. You have come. It has to change. It is a kind of a premonition already of what is going to happen on the fated day. In another 3 hours or 2 hours, Satyavan is going to die. Body will be left behind, but that is not going to be the end of things. Thou hast come, you are accompanying me to the forest today. For what? You are coming with me to the forest for what? Because it is in that all will change. Body will not be left abandoned there like that. He already has that premonition, so to say, you see. Coming back to our text. Beside her, Satyavan walked full of joy because she moved with him through his green horns. He showed her all the forest ditches, Flowers innumerable of every odor and hue. What he has been saying for 25 years, he is showing her within 25 minutes. All that, you see. And soft, thick, clinging creepers, red and green. Thick, clinging creepers, red and green. That is Madhumalati, the faithfulness. Madhumalati, faithfulness. And strange, rich plumaged birds, to every cry that haunted sweetly distant boughs, replied with a shrill singer's name, most sweetly called. He spoke of all the things he loved, obviously, because his beloved was there with him. They were his boyhood's comrades and his playfellows. That is what we have just now seen, you see. Co-evals and companions of his life here in this world, whose every mood he knew. That is the identification of Satyavan with nature. It is that identification which gave him the true knowledge, the divine knowledge, spiritual realization. He had all those experiences already. But then he says, what I lacked was, my spirit is saved, but what about my body? You have come, now the body also is saved. Here this world has every mood he knew. What is that he knew? Their thoughts which no common mind can blank, he shared. What the birds are thinking, what the animals are thinking, what the trees are thinking, what the river is thinking, mountains are thinking, that all he knew. To every wild emotion felt an answer. So it is not only thought, but also the vital life instinct in you. Deeply she listened. She, of course, stands now here for Savitri. He is describing all that thing. And Savitri is listening very calmly, deeply. But to hear the voice that soon would see some tender words and treasure its sweet cadences, beloved, for lonely memory when none by her walked, and the beloved voice could speak no more. She yeah, what a poignant moment, you see, how intense, you see, how piercing also. But he is speaking all that thing, but Savitri, all right, she is listening, but little dwelt her mind upon their sense. What is speaking, she is not really much concerned about that, you see. Of death, not life, she thought of life's lone end. Yes, her concern is now basically death or the lone end of life. What is going to happen? Love in her bosom, heart with jagged edges, so rough. Emotions, feelings, it is they which are hurting her heart now. Of anguish mourned at every step with pain, crying, now perhaps his voice will cease forever. What a poignant statement. He's speaking another 2 hours perhaps, and he won't be able to speak at all further. Now perhaps his voice will cease forever. See the line, the way the line is overflowing from one to the other. Now perhaps his voice will cease. Now this line, forever, even by some vague touch of breast. Sometimes her eyes looked round as if their orbs might see the dim, dreadful God's approach. She's seeing already now the dim, dreadful God approaching her eyes. See. Forever, now this line let us scan metrically. Forever, even by some vague touch of it. The first foot is for A, that is am. Then A word even, that is another am. For A were even, Then third foot is by some. Short, short, short. It's called tribac. Third foot. And then vague touch. Strong, strong. Spondy. So you have got I am, triumvirate, spondy. And then oppressed. And I am. So see the magic of this thing. These two. Three short syllables followed by two strong syllables. It gives a kind of a strength to the whole metrical construction. Forever, even by some vague touch of press, the whole line rings with a different tone altogether. Sometimes her eyes looked round, as if their eyes might see the dim, dreadful God's approach. But Satyavan had paused. He meant to finish his labor. Here, that happy, linked, uncaring, they too might wander free in the green deep. They too might wander free in the green deep. Practically monosyllabic line emphasizing the stress, the intensity of emotion. His labor, he has a happy link. See, he wants to finish off his daily work. Let me quickly finish off. Be done away with it so that I can spend more time with my beloved. That is anxiety at the moment. They too might wander free in the green, deep, primal mystery of the forest heart. For what? To see the beauty, the primal beauty of this forest. Enjoy the soul nature. Worldless, but near she was. That is what he was feeling. What does Savitri feel? She is not speaking at all. She is very close to him. Worldless, but near she was. No turn to lose of the bright face and body which she loved. She would not allow him to go out of her sight. She is constantly looking at him. She would not allow, even for a split second, for him to move away from her sight. Worldless, obviously. Her life was now in seconds. The moment is approaching, not in hours. And every moment she economized like a pale merchant lean above his store. The way the miser will look on his possession, those few moments now which are there, he's trying to hold them on for eternity. The miser of his poor remaining gold, poor remaining gold. It is gold, those few moments which are there now, they are gold to her. She would not allow to be snatched, that gold to be snatched by somebody, you see. The miser of his poor remaining gold. But Satyavan wielded a joyous axe. He wants to finish his work quickly and is in a hurry to carry out the work. But Satyavan wielded a joyous, obviously joyous, useful person with his company of beloved. He wants to finish out the work. He is singing. He does not know that shortly he is going to die. Absolutely no idea at all. Savitri, of course, knows it because Savitri knows the month, the day, the time, the moment when it is going to happen. She was counting all the food. Kala, Veda, etc., all those things. The month, the moment, the hour, everything she was counting constantly. He sang high snatches of a sage's chant. That is what we have got in the book of love also. He sang that period of conquered death and demon slave. Well, this is very romantic. Satyavan is chanting the song, the hymn of conquest of death, without knowing that he is shortly going to die. And sometimes paused to cry to her sweet speech of love and mockery, tenderer than love. So the poet is really very tense, in every description. She, like a pantheress, leaped upon his words and carried them into her cavern heart. She caught the prey and she is keeping now back in her cavern. She's storing every word, every joy which is coming from Satyavan. But as he worked, his doom upon him came. It has to happen. The inevitable has to happen. He must die. But as he worked, his doom upon him came. As he worked, his doom upon him came. Now this is practically monosyllabic line, except upon, which is disyllabic. See, the poetic technique builds up the intensity of emotion. By putting stress on every word here, you are really making more and more powerful, intense that emotion. But as he worked, his doom upon him came. He became more and more poignant. The violent and hungry hounds of pain. So the dogs of death are now loosened and they are going to hurt him. The violent and hungry hounds of pain travel through his body, biting as they passed, silently, and all his suffering breath besieged, strove to rend life's strong hard course and be free. In the Mahabharata story, he says, as if the arrows are piercing into my head. Satyavan tells to Savitri, there is such a tremendous headache, as if some arrows are piercing into my head constantly, and there is intense pain. I feel something very disturbing in my heart also. That is what the Mahabharata says. Here, the violent, hungry hounds of pain, that they are waiting to clutch his flesh, to bite him. Then helped, as if a beast had left its prey, which is very rare, you see. Yeah,